If it's bull or bear, I don't care. It's quite a rough ride, just like life. But I'm kind of patient, 'cause only time will tell.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome. I am the Crypto Crow. And, today I'm going to actually talk about the bear market, okay? Because they're every cycle, the price goes down, right? If we peak up, the price drops, people freak out, they sell at the bottom after they've already bought somewhere around the highs, and then begins your what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of you're paying your dues to the crypto space and potential profits of the future. So, when I first got into crypto, August 2017, something like that. I didn't start YouTube until November. I had already been getting into it for a couple months before I started my YouTube channel. And, of course, the market peaked up and, it was just like euphoria. It was like, you're discovering this new technology, this new ecosystem. Everything was new. And you think at the time, look what I just discovered. It's going up, and it's going to go up forever. You don't understand the market cycles. You don't understand to look for a peak. You don't understand any of those things. Everybody at the time is moon boy. Everything's going to skyrocket from here. How far could we go? Can we go to 25,000, 30,000, 50,000? You've got articles all over the place, basically pumping you full of opium. And while that's all happening, the price is dipping. And then that dip gets bigger, and the dip gets bigger. And you're still reading these articles talking about we could go to the moon, and where are we going to go from here? And then you're just like, I'm going to hold. I've made so much money, and it's going to go up. It's going to go up. And it just doesn't seem to do that. And then at a certain point, about midway through, you're thinking, it's not going up from here. I think I could just sell. Should I just sell? Should I take my profits? What should I do? Some people hold through thinking, I'm buying into the tech. I don't care what happens. Some people sell, at a profitable position, depending on when they got in the first place. I mean, it's a variety of different situations. Now, and then the cycle repeats and more people come into the space, pump up the prices even further, and then it drops. And here we are in another cycle. We're in another bear cycle. And I've done these prediction videos. I've done a couple now. And, I said, hey, I think we're probably going to bottom out somewhere around 28,000. The price has been dropping so drastically. We're sitting right now at 31,003. We are getting close to a point where, I'm thinking, is 28,000 going to be a bottom? I mean, because if we were to plummet all the way right now, if we were to plummet down even further, we would touch on the 200 weekly moving average somewhere around 24,000 perhaps. I mean, it depends on how fast this continues to fall. Now, in yesterday's video, I said, I expected to see a little bit of a pullback, a little bit of a pump, and we did get a little bit of a pump, and then it just continued dropping from there. And, we've wicked already. Now, these are weekly candles, right? So, we wicked all the way down to like 29.9 already. And some of you guys are freaking out. And some of you are thinking, oh my gosh, what do I tell my wife? I put all this money into Bitcoin and I put all this money into Cardano or whatever, and it just keeps dropping. What do we do? Couple facets to this, couple things. Number one, don't freak out. Hopefully you didn't invest more than you can afford to lose, because if you invest more than you can afford to lose, that's ultimately what causes panic. That's what causes people to sell at a loss. If you just invested play money because you're thinking, I've got an extra $1,000, I'm going to dump it into some good old Cardano and see what happens, and you're watching the market come down, well, hopefully you're generating a passive yield with that Cardano while you're riding these bear market waves, and you're just generating more ADA passively by staking it to a node, right? Now, there are, with crypto being still so new relatively, I mean, Bitcoin's market cap only breaking a little over $1 trillion, with it being as young as it is. Listen, there's going to be a day. There's going to be a day when Bitcoin is $1 million. I really wholeheartedly believe that. And when I think about where we're at, this is just par for the course, because we're still bringing in so much new technology, so many bigger players, more institutions, more Wall Street, which I don't even want Wall Street in this, because the more Wall Street gets into the space, the more we're going to start seeing buying and selling patterns similar to, NASDAQ and everything else, just like the Wyckoff distribution system. We're going to be seeing more and more of that, because that's what a lot of these guys typically play on. And the biggest thing I can really say is don't freak out, because this bear market, as I've been saying for so long, the bear market is an opportunity to start anew. So let's say hypothetically you bought Cardano at $1.50, right? And you watched it go up and double. And then it peaked at 314 and started to fall. And here you are at 60 cents. You still haven't sold. What do? Average in, average down. This isn't financial advice. Don't do anything I'm telling you to do, but I'm telling you what I would do. If I were in that situation, I would continue watching this go down. And as I could, I would be putting money aside, money I could afford to lose in case the whole crypto world blew up. But I would just be putting that money aside, waiting for a bottom. I'd be waiting for Bitcoin to hit this 200 weekly moving average. And about that time that happens, I would just start buying into ADA or whatever your favorite token is. But I'm waiting to buy back into Cardano personally. And that's how I would play it. And if you average in over time, let's say you can only afford $100 a week or $100 a month or whatever the case may be, we're going to have all this time, most likely, until the next Bitcoin halving. Bitcoin halving, for those of you that are new, hashtag you're new, is basically when Bitcoin's hard-coded algorithm tells miners you're only going to get half of the reward. It's ultimately cutting the influx of new Bitcoin into the market by half for 4 years. Every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoin mined up is cut in half. So then you have the same number of miners, if not more people, who are ultimately competing to try and mine up half of the amount of Bitcoin they were the previous 4 years. That's what they call the halving. And that's what ultimately slows down the distribution of a very limited 20 million Bitcoin supply. Now, that's typically the trigger for when we start to really reverse in price action for the new bull market. Okay, now there's obviously a lot going on in the world as well that's playing a role. And I do have concerns in terms of what's going to happen. Digital IDs are going to be a thing. How is that going to play into the crypto space? What blockchains are going to utilize this? We see a lot of moon boys talking about XRP and the SEC lawsuit against them and how that's going. And everybody's expecting XRP to go to the moon. And there are government documents about the IOSS 92, or I don't remember what it is, but basically, apparently there are documents that are explaining some of the ways that, IMF and other big banking institutions are going to start using this new protocol to get rid of SWIFT, and how it's all going to run on XRP and potentially stellar lumens. And I think there was another one. I don't know. One of these days I'll dig deeper into that. But my biggest concern right now is supply chain issues. My biggest concern is food shortages. My biggest concerns are not necessarily even within the crypto space, but how is what's happening in the crypto space going to be affected by everything else going on in the world? How is crypto going to play a role in the Great Reset that I'm sure has got to be common knowledge to everybody at this point, because nobody's hiding anything. And at some point I'll talk more about this on Rumble. And if you're not following me on Rumble, you might want to do that. This is the first exclusive video I've put on Rumble. And I'm still working on growing things out, but how I plan to profit big with NFT.com. I basically just put a business model in there that I know nobody's ever thought of. And if you're trying to figure out how to maybe make some pretty decent money using, and you could potentially apply this to a lot of new stuff that you think is going to grow over time, but you might want to check this video out if you haven't already. There's only 142 of you that have watched it so far. I encourage you to check it out, especially if you're into SEO at all, or you're into online marketing, if you're into lead generation, if you're into any of that kind of stuff. It's a very simple business model that surprisingly nobody's talking about, and it could earn quite a bit of money in the future. And now's the time to start looking into that, because there are still a lot of subdomains still available on NFT.com. This isn't a paid segment or anything. I'm just letting you know. But I'm going to be putting some really juicy stuff on Rumble. I highly encourage you to start following me there, because I'm going to be talking about stuff there that I just can't and I don't feel comfortable really getting into deep on YouTube's. So, I mean, this is Ethereum. And, again, we're seeing the same price go. We're seeing the same price movement. Everything is coming down. Now, I see some people and they say, "Oh, Crow, you said Cardano was going to go to $8." I did. I absolutely. I believed 100% that we were going to hit $8. And I do think that there's a lot to be said. Even Warren Buffett was talking about like the options, calls, puts, leverage, all that stuff, and how people are using the markets like a casino. And when people do that, it really starts screwing with the overall market price of assets. And it's not good. It really is not good. And when I think about how a lot of that stuff has been coming into the crypto space, I think that's a big part of why the crypto space has been acting the way it has. I think it's a lot of these people liquidating each other for hundreds of millions of dollars at a time. And it's like a whale game. And in that whale game, it's ultimately lowering the volatility of a lot of these assets that should be reaching, astronomical heights, especially at the market. I mean, I've done a lot of calculations in the past of what would the market look like if we were at a $2 trillion market cap, a $1 trillion market cap. And, a lot of that was accurate, but we should have been much higher. I was wrong. We didn't hit $8. We hit $3.14 before the market turned around finally into the bear market. Maybe we hit that $8 in 2025 and 2026. But the point is, the other thing to this too, that if you're getting into the space or you're relatively new and you're starting to realize, oh wow, this is a cyclical thing. Like about every 2 years, we go from a bear to a bull and back and forth and back and forth. And maybe that changes at some point in the future, but I don't really think that's going to happen for a while. If we think about the Great Reset and we think about 2030 and we think about, all of the changes that are being made with the end goals, all that stuff. We've got about, maybe 8 years. What can happen in 8 years? Well, to me, 8 years, I hear, well, we'll have one more complete cycle. And then maybe that's it. Maybe after that, a lot of the regulation will have pushed out a lot of the shitty coins, the altcoins that are never going to amount to anything. We've established which primary blockchains are going to be used for what on a global level. We're going to have a few primary niche markets in finance that might utilize one or two coins. And then we're going to have a lot of utility stuff that's just for fun. And I think the requirements of those utility tokens are going to be very strict. And there's going to be a lot of people. And when you think about it, you think, oh, the SEC, it's just changing stuff in the US. No, I think that's going to change too, because I think the grand scheme that's playing out here is more of a one world unit, a one world order, new world order, whatever you want to call it. The Great Reset, however you want to name it. But ultimately, I believe that, the SEC, and I mean, when you think about a policing force for the greatest financial infrastructure in the world, why wouldn't they play it? We hired all these people. Biden hired, where they put $80 billion or $80 million or whatever it is to hire a bunch of new, like IRS people and new, SEC people and all that. Well, why would they really need to do all that to police the country? I think there's something more to it, quite honestly. I think that we're talking about hiring a lot more people because I think their reach is going to grow. And in the grand scheme of things, I think it could grow globally, and how we work with other countries. Okay. And this whole video is just kind of me sharing thoughts, like simple thoughts. But, you know, a part of me has always said, listen, if we were to think about this world as a unit, right now, this unit has been broken apart by countries. It's been broken apart by race. It's been broken apart by religion, financial status, so many different things. And in that, it's created a bit of entitlement with some groups, this group or another, for different reasons. And this distance, this disconnect between one person and another. To some extent, I expect the metaverse and things of that nature to bring people together in a different way. I believe some of the technology that's coming out, both from Elon Musk and others, I think will connect people in new, very interesting ways. But I also believe that in order for us to truly expand beyond Earth, we're going to need a new way of doing it. We're going to need a new system on a global scale. That's just all there is to it. And I know that, like, I'm not all about all the crazy shit that's been going on. I'm really not. And I also know that, you know, if we're given 10 cents, the people that are giving it to us are taking 50, right? So, but it's like, you know, when, gosh, it's so difficult to describe what I'm trying to get across. Ultimately, depending on how things really end up, a new world order may not just be such a bad thing. And I think regardless, we're heading there no matter what. So the question here is, how do you prepare for that? How do you prepare for the, you know, like in the movie Roadhouse where Dalton, Patrick Swayze, he's like, it's going to get worse before it gets better. It's like, yeah, that's typically how it goes. I think the world around us is going to get significantly worse before things get better, because we're all accustomed to a certain way of life. We're all accustomed to a certain expectation within ourselves and our environment. And I think a lot of that's going to be changing soon. I don't know 100% how I feel about it. I just know that it's happening. And we're seeing a lot of forced changes because we're seeing the supply lines being wrecked. We're seeing food and produce of all kinds of stuff. Prices are going up. It's getting more and more difficult for households to be able to afford certain things. We have other people who are buying up significant farmland so that they can control like carbon tax credits and all this stuff in the name of global warming and everything, you know, like there's such a narrative associated with this that I think is bogus. But I also try to figure out what good may be actually come of this. Like what good may be coming of some of this more established control? Is there good at the end of the dark tunnel? Is there a real reason that maybe we're not being told? Because let me tell you this is one thing that, I mean, unfortunately it's true. I see it all the time on YouTube. You can tell people till you're blue in the face, anything at all, and they will still, it'll either go right over their head or they'll come up with their own, like, oh, Crow, you know, like even when I sold, everybody was trying to blame me. Oh, Crow's just trying to bury the market. He's trying to drop the market. He's trying to control the market so he can buy back in, as if I have that kind of power to control a $2 trillion market cap. I mean, get the hell out of here. But people believe it. I see it all the time. Anytime I do anything, you know, like I see people, I've explained in countless videos, well, I sold because I plan on buying back in. I believe we're in a bear cycle. I've called it from the beginning, for years. I've been talking about what's coming. Now it's happening and everybody thinks I'm fudding Cardano, or I'm not cool anymore because I sold and I made a big profit. I could probably triple what I sold right now for the same money, you know. I just know the game and I understand where we're at in the cycle. I understand a lot more than most people, but to try and explain that to people, it won't make any sense to them. They don't want to buy it. They don't want to believe it. So if I were trying to, you know, create a system or do something that may be helping you, but I don't want your backlash, I don't want your bullshit, I don't want to deal with the nonsense of things, how would I go about doing that? Maybe I'd attach it to global warming. Maybe I would attach it to something that may not be able to be proven, but it sounds like a really good excuse. And regardless, it needs to happen for whatever reason. I'm being an apologist right now, and I'm trying to give some benefit of the doubt because, quite frankly, if I don't, I think I might lose my mind. I mean, I am seeing so many things that there's obviously a global network that's working on a lot of different things. And yeah, I get, like, when you're talking about the media, you're talking about, well, the media is going to say whatever their advertisers want them to because they want to keep that ad revenue flowing, and I don't think the media gives two shits at all on either side. I don't think any of these groups, there's a lot of right-wing media that accepted some pretty big tabs for promoting the injections and things like that. I mean, the right-wing media, they get paid just like everyone else. Okay. So don't kid yourself. But I have to wonder, like, what is the overall point to all of this? I almost wish I was a part of the Great Reset so that I could, like, go to these meetings and just understand, like, with a clear head and just an unbiased desire to understand, like, how is all this going to click together? What does it mean in the end? What is the picture that everyone is seeing that we as lemmings just don't get? All we see is the increased control, we see the bad side of it, but nobody's painted a picture as to really why yet. I want to believe that those pushing these buttons and making these changes on a global level have some, I mean, what do they get? What is it? What does money mean? If like, what is you having trillions of dollars at your disposal and all the power in the world? What does that mean if everyone around you is enslaved in one way or another? What do you get out of that? None of us are living forever. Did somebody find the fountain of youth and they want to live eternity as a king on earth, controlling everything? I don't think so. I just don't. I'm really trying to understand a deeper meaning behind a lot of what's going on. It doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good. But I'm totally kind of going off topic, but it's been a while since I've just kind of let myself free flow in thought on YouTube, and it is what it is. But I think that whatever is coming down the pipe, whatever is happening, we have an opportunity to better prepare. And I think that whatever is happening is likely going to get a lot more interesting over the next 8 years, for sure. There's obviously a big push to buy electric vehicles. There's a big push to do a lot of stuff, not eat meat. Why would a power mongering group of people care that we buy a steak? Like, what is that about? How does that really benefit anybody, really? I mean, what would be the real reason behind people not wanting the rest of the world to eat too much meat? Like, that I don't get. Well, some of the things don't make sense to me. Some of these things don't add up. And granted, there's a lot of crazy happening. And I believe that there are some people that are absolutely being manipulated and lied to and turned into pawns for a game that they don't even know they're playing. I do absolutely believe that. The cognitive dissonance is real. Some people are so inherently brainwashed, you could convince them that poop is purple, and it doesn't matter what they see right before their very eyes, what color it really is. These people will argue and argue that turd is purple. I don't care if it's jet black charcoal. They will say it's purple because they have been trained and programmed to believe that color is purple. I don't know. It's insane to me. But you can't do anything about it. You can't change their minds. You can't educate them. They don't want to hear it. They just don't want to hear it. It doesn't matter what the truth is. It's insane. But cast all that out. I mean, take all that out of the equation, and what you have is a global change in financial systems. That's happening. So the best way to prepare, in my opinion, is I've stocked up on food. I've stocked up on things that I need. I have lots of random like solar power gadgets and solar charging things and all kinds of stuff to try and, I've got stuff protected in different packages in case there's some kind of EMP blast. I mean, like, I don't know what to expect on that front. I don't know what this big war is going to mean overall in the grand scheme of things. I know what I think. I know some of why I think it's happening, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything, because if it's easily obtainable through mass media, it's probably bullshit. That's just the way I look at it all anymore. I mean, there was a time I used to love watching the news and seeing what's going on. But there's also a reason why the mainstream media doesn't really talk about anything good. It doesn't get the eyeballs. It doesn't get the clicks. It doesn't get the attention that bad shit does. And when you mix that with ad revenue, we're going to be told whatever the hell the narrative is today. I mean, it is truly nuts, but that's just how it is. So you have to really dive deep to try and get a better understanding as to what's really going on. The cryptocurrency space as a whole, it still is going through market cycles. And I don't see that changing for the next, 5 to 10 years. It may never change. I don't know. But I do believe at some point in the future, we're going to have much more lengthy cycles. Okay. Once these halvings aren't playing as significant a role in the price action, of Bitcoin, and that starts to level out, I think ultimately so will the markets overall. And then we're going to reach a point where only the cream will rise to the top at all. Cardano, I believe, is going to be one of the biggest crypto assets in the world in the future. I truly believe that. And so when I look at the market and I see the prices fall, I'm like, keep going, baby. Keep falling, keep falling. Yeah, part of it's because I sold, and I would love to reaccumulate at a better price using some of the profits that I was able to make in the last cycle and rinse and freaking repeat. But the thing of it is let's say I hadn't sold and I'm still holding through, I'd still be doing the same thing. Why? Because it's an opportunity to accumulate more with the knowledge that Cardano's still not even finished. Hydra hasn't launched yet. These hard forks haven't launched yet. A lot of the stuff, the big final big pieces to this puzzle that's going to take this blockchain to the stratosphere still haven't launched. We've got our smart contracts. We've got NFTs. We got all the fun stuff. But the true scalability, the true interoperability protocols that are going to make Cardano what I expect it to be in the future over the next year even, I'm telling you, the stuff is going to change, man. And we're going to see use cases like no other. We're going to see adoption like no other. And I think that $3 Cardano at the peak of the next market, somewhere around 2025, 26, it's going to make this $3 peak look like nothing. That is truly what I believe, and I'll be there for it. So, I think in the grand scheme of things, the only thing I can really say, I don't even know how long I've been rambling, 27 minutes. Hopefully I don't get shut down for this video. I want to understand everything, but what I do understand is that we have a market cycle and we're in a bear cycle, and the price is going to continue going down. Bitcoin will probably see 28 grand, maybe even wick below it on a weekly. We'll see what happens. And, that's when I'm going to start accumulating more. We're getting close. I mean, we're definitely getting close. Look at this. It's insane. And that's okay though. I mean, I'm fine with this. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not freaking out. I'm not freaking out about the market. I'm not freaking out about, look at this. This is the last halving. Hold on. If I can get my screen, it's not wanting to click. Okay. So look at this. This is weekly, right? We had another pretty big dip here, but look, we had that channel here. This is the top of that channel. It was somewhere around 11,000. We never wicked above that. We bottomed out on the 200 weekly. We bottomed out again on that same 200 weekly, but at a higher price as we headed into the halving. Look at that. That's just the last cycle, folks. So yeah, I'm expecting to see something similar. Here we are with all of our double peaks and the double whammies and all that stuff. We're pulling down. We're going to meet this 200 weekly, and we're going to continue moving forward. And maybe we channel up and down like a little alligator teeth until we get closer to the halving. Maybe we bottom out again at a higher price, maybe somewhere around 32 or something like that. Maybe we bottom out around here, around 35,000, and then boom, we start taking off into the next bull market. So the only thing you can really do right now is prepare. You prepare for the unknown. You've got a history of cycles that are basically spelling it out. I'm not trying to get into every crap coin out there. I'm not trying to buy into every Shiba Inu and all of that stuff. I like some of these. I think some of the meme tokens are actually kind of fun. I think that meme Kong, I actually thought that was kind of neat. That was a paid segment, but I was like, this is interesting. And I like what what people are doing with some of the meme tokens. And it's like, it's just for fun though. There's no real fundamental value to me. It's just like, here, I can buy 20 million of these tokens for next to nothing and let the marketing and community take the price up as it brings new people in. Those, I believe, to some extent are Ponzi-esque, but again, all I can really tell everybody is to just prepare. I mean, and I don't care where you are politically. I really don't. I don't give a shit if you're right, left, center. I don't care if you're up or down. I don't really care about any of that stuff anymore, like at all. I never really cared prior to, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. I thought it was all a big bullshit play anyway. I just watched 2,000 Mules and I'm like, well, no shit. Like I watched the whole thing and I'm like, it was quite extensive, but it didn't tell me anything I didn't already know. I mean, really, it just showed how, like, it went into the details with proof and videos and cell phone data and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it was pretty, I mean, like, it's damning. Let's just say that. It's very damning. But, nothing is going to change. Like, nothing's going to happen from it. Like, nobody's going to get in trouble. Nothing's going to happen. It's back to work, people. I mean, it's just, it's a different realm, man. Like the political realm, it's different. It's just different. They don't live by the same rules and laws that us little people do. They're the ones that write them and make them and pass them and push them through. They're not going to be affected by their own shit. That's like shitting where you eat. They don't do that. They don't have to worry about any of this stuff for themselves. So, nothing's going to come of it. I see a lot of people that are all excited that's come out and they're watching it and they're like, yeah, down with this and down with that. And like, you're getting your hopes up for no reason. Nothing's going to happen. The world is changing. The world is changing, and that documentary isn't going to change a thing. And not only that, it's not going to change any of these crazy people's minds. They can watch that thing 15 times, 15 different ways from Sunday, and it's not going to change anybody's mind. It doesn't matter what facts there are. It doesn't matter. There are always going to be ways that people try to explain this or that away. And all they need is that little tiny bit of doubt. Maybe the whole thing was shot in a movie set. You're right. It's all fake. I knew it. There's no way that could have been real. I knew it wasn't real. I'm going to go tell everybody. Every time somebody comes up to, that's how it's like, psh, nothing you can do about it. Crazy is crazy. It is what it is. So anyway, I don't know. I just thought I'd shoot a video today, have a little bit of fun, basically let you guys know, listen, a lot is changing. A lot is happening. Try to prepare, stock up for a rainy day just in case you need it. I like to figure, you want a year's supply of whatever for every person in your household. And just to try and play it safe. You might want some water purification tablets. You might want, and I know it sounds crazy. Listen, I get it. It sounds crazy. Because I'm buying this stuff and my wife is like, what are you doing? And I'm like, listen, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have shit. And then that's just the way I look at it. And it's like, I want to be prepared. When I got into crypto in the very beginning, it's like, things start clicking in my head. And I start thinking, you know what? I don't know what the hell's going to happen. I don't know, you just prepare for the unknown. For all I know, a year from now, all this stuff could all be blown over. Everything, we could all be overreacting to just a lot of things we just don't understand. And I don't know, maybe better systems are going to be put in place and just make everything that much better on a global level. I have no idea. I hope so. I don't know. We'll see. But in the meantime, I'm trying to keep my family protected and safe. I'm learning archery, man. I'm doing all kinds of stuff just because A, I'm bored. B, I just want to learn new shit. And, I can only study cryptocurrency so much every day for content. And sometimes I just want to come on here and just ramble for a little bit. I'm not trying to get a bunch of clickbait shit or a bunch of traffic because I'm telling you Bitcoin's going to moon tomorrow. I don't care, man. I just don't. And I think that, sometimes I just kind of want to come on here and ramble for a little while. And some of you guys appreciate it. Some of you won't. Is what it is. Till next time. Thanks for joining me. Follow me on Rumble so I can really get real. And I'll see you again soon.